Hello beautiful people, I am back again today with a new video, and I have been planning to make this video for some time. I even posted about this topic in my poll, and actually the majority of people voted that they want to hear about this, which is a compilation of the frequency and consciousness level of specific people from the ruling class, movements, institutions, organizations, so on. So it took me quite a long time to measure the frequency levels of all these people. And I was saying it already that the reason that I didn't post this video until now was because it is taking a lot of my energy to calibrate those frequency levels. It is very energy consuming and I cannot do it in one go. So I have quite a few people that I want to talk about today. And then also I checked humanity and where we are standing at right now. I think back in December or November, I made a video where I was talking about us as a collective and where we are standing on that frequency scale, which I always refer to. But anyways, I will be talking about that as well. And it actually happens for a reason that I didn't post this video until now, because the one that I posted yesterday just before this one is about dark entities, is about the 8th sphere and the lower astral, and how these lower vibrational entities are influencing humanity and how they are influencing starseeds and light workers. So if you haven't watched that video, please watch it because it's an important topic which I think it's important to address. Okay, so after discussing the calibrations and these people, I will do an energy update as well, an energy reading, energy check about humanity and where we are standing now as a collective, considering all these things that have happened in the past 1 week. I have been following a little bit the update in Canada after the police got involved and the brutality and the violence that they were using against these peaceful people. And that was hard to watch, to be honest. And I know that they have left already, I think, the truckers. I mean, they didn't have any other choice. So when things are escalating to that degree that there's violence, they don't have another choice. They needed to make this move. However, I was saying it already, this is not the end. This is just the very beginning of the awakening of humanity. This has been serving as an activation, and I will be talking about that because this whole video has a link to that, especially the calibration of humanity. And this is not the last movement that we will be seeing. There will be other movements, other manifestations of this beautiful energy of the awakening of the masses. And actually this coward move of the Prime Minister in Canada is shaking up the world as well. It is an eye-opener for the world. This needs to happen in order for people to understand that we are facing a totalitarian regime, and if we don't do something about it, this will take over the world. But it's impossible at this level where we are standing right now, and we will be standing. It will be impossible for them to succeed. However, this has to run its course to a certain degree. So everything happens for a reason. And I was hearing comments from the police about the protesters that if they were peaceful, they would not hold the line, they would leave, they would not resist. I mean, being peaceful doesn't mean that you have to be a doormat. Being loving doesn't mean that you will let someone to step over you. These are just comments of low vibrational mentality and low vibrational consciousness that thinks that in order to be peaceful and in order to be loving, you have to let others to do whatever they want with you. So yeah, I'm wondering what kind of people these people are that are from the police. Many of them are vibrating on the level of fear, I believe, and many of them are just fearful about losing their jobs, their finances. But I do believe that many of them will wake up as well. And we are seeing beautiful individuals from the police, from the military stepping forward and fighting and standing for human rights and love and peace in the world and freedom, sovereignty. So many of those will join the light as well. And the Pleiadians were saying that some time ago, that many of these entities will join the light, and those that don't, this planet will not be for them. But for now, the planet is for them as well, because we still have to deal with these low vibrations. We still have to integrate that. So everything happens with a great purpose. But we will check where we are standing right now energetically. Okay, so let's get into this list of calibrations and talk about these people. I actually calibrated the jabs as well, so the liquid, and I will be talking about that as well a little bit later. Okay, so I was checking some spiritual teachers. What you need to know about these calibrations is that you can calibrate anything because everything has a consciousness. However, you need to ask for permission. So you can calibrate people as well at energetic levels with muscle testing. There are some methods. So you can do that yourself, but you have to vibrate on a level that is above 200, above the level of courage, in order to get clear information and precise information. So in order for the information not to come through in a distorted way. In terms of asking for permission, when you are doing a reading on someone, or you are channeling information about someone, or you are measuring their energetic level, you are basically having to ask for permission from their higher self, not to interfere with their free will. So you have to make sure that you are not interfering with that entity's free will. So I did ask for permission from the higher selves of these entities, these people actually, and entities as well, because people are entities, and I didn't get permission from a few of them. So for example, I did not get permission from the higher self of Byron Katie. She's a spiritual teacher. I absolutely love her, but I didn't get permission. I wasn't allowed to get information about Dr. David Hawkins either, who has made this consciousness scale actually, Deepak Chopra, Sadhguru, Alan Watts. Who else? I was trying to get information about Leonardo DiCaprio, but I did not get like a clear information about his consciousness level. The information was blocked, even though I got the permission, but the information was blocked, so I just left it. And John F. Kennedy, the late John F. Kennedy either. But the majority of them, the majority of higher selves gave me permission. Okay, so let's start with the spiritual teachers. I am familiar with the work of some of them, not all of them, and please take what resonates and leave the rest behind. So if this information doesn't resonate with you, that's okay, leave it. And I'm going to put the scale on the screen for everybody so you can see it, and especially those of you that are not familiar with that scale. So everything that vibrates under 200, under the level of courage, is a low vibrational frequency, and everything that is above that is part of the positive polarity. So just to repeat myself, but I think many of you know already. Okay, so Eckhart Tolle first. His consciousness is in between 501 and 540, which is inner love and joy. So between inner love and joy, that is a very high level of consciousness. That is an extremely elevated level of consciousness. And everything that is above 400 already, it's already fifth dimensional. So fourth density or fifth dimensional. Okay, Louise Hay, the late Louise Hay. I'm not familiar with her work. I know about her, but her level of consciousness is in between 541 and 600, which is the level of joy and peace. In between joy and peace, very, very elevated, very beautiful. Abraham Hicks, the channeled messages, so the frequency of the channeled messages, not the channeler. 251 and 310, so in between that, in between neutrality and willingness. Now, that is not a fifth dimensional level of teaching, I would say, and a long time ago I used to listen to those teachings, and something couldn't really resonate with me. Now I know that many people love it and it's very useful for many people. It is about law of attraction, manifestation, so it is very helpful and it's above the level of courage, definitely, but I could just tell that is not a high vibration. And that is because of the level of consciousness of the channeler, because I have measured her level of consciousness and I got something Now again, take it or leave it. I got something that is below 200, so, or very close to 200. So keep in mind that the channeled messages will always be subject to the level of consciousness of the channeler. A person has to vibrate to a certain level in order to be able to receive those vibrations. In order for the channeler's body to be able to support those vibrations, because at a certain level, your body just cannot survive that. It cannot take it. So it will resist it. It will reject those vibrations. So the channeled message cannot come through if it's very high vibrational. Yeah, so it is not about the entity necessarily, but it's about the translation, because the channeler is the translator. Okay, oh yeah, and I didn't get permission from Pope Francis either, so from his higher self. Okay, the Dalai Lama, in between 401 and 500, so in between reason and inner love. That is quite a high vibration. That it's almost like a fifth dimensional. Neil Donald Walsh, who is the writer of book series Conversations with God. So it's in between 401 and 500, just as the Dalai Lama, reason and inner love. That is beautiful. Wayne Dyer, I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. Wayne Dyer, 541 and 600, so in between joy and peace. I'm not familiar with his work at all, but that's a very high vibration. Neville Goddard, 351 and 400, in between acceptance and reason. I'm not familiar with him either. That's quite a good level as well. The teachings of Cryon. Now I am familiar with him, the angel. So these are the teachings, not the channeler's level of consciousness. 541 and 600, in between joy and peace. So the messages are high vibrational messages. And I have checked my messages as well, the messages that come through from Archangel Metatron, from the GFL, Pleiadians, Arcturians as well. So these are all in between 541 and 600, so the same level. So in between joy and peace. And the ones that are coming through from Source and from the Venusians, even though I only got so far one message from the Venusians, but those vibrations are in between 600 and 700. These are the calibrations of my channel messages. Just wanted to let you know. Okay, so let's continue. Mother Teresa. Now, Mother Teresa is a controversial person because many people are saying that she has been taking part of child trafficking and those sort of things. I don't know that because I never looked into it, to be honest. So please use your discernment. But what I got in terms of her level of consciousness when she was alive, it was 541 and 600. So in between joy and peace, which is a very, very high vibration. So I don't know what are the claims and what she did, but it is very hard to believe that a person with that level of consciousness would do such thing. So this is what I got. Again, use your discernment, please. Take what resonates. Oprah Winfrey. There are claims about her as well. Not sure what she did. Never looked into it, but I got in between 251 and 310. So in between neutrality and willingness. So it's above the level of courage. Princess Diana. 251, 310, just as Oprah Winfrey, neutrality and willingness. However, Oprah Winfrey could be negatively oriented as well. Not sure about that. Meghan Markle, she is the wife of Prince Harry, if you don't know. So her level of consciousness is in between 176 and 200, which is in between pride and courage. So below the level of courage, which I'm not surprised. Prince Harry, her husband, now he got a higher level of consciousness, a bit higher than her, in between 201 and 250, which is in between courage and neutrality. Prince William, I got the exact same, 201, 250, just as his brother. But Kate Middleton, who is the wife of Prince William. Now, I don't know anything about her. Like, I have heard about her many times throughout the years, of course, but I never ever listened to any speech from her. But what I got very, very surprisingly is that her level is in between 311 and 350. That is in between willingness and acceptance. And that is a very, very high level for a member of the royal family. So I don't know how can she survive in that environment. I mean, her husband is not too bad either, but maybe this is meant to be. Maybe she is one of those light workers who is changing the whole thing in that family. I'm not sure. This is what I got. Take it or leave it. Okay, let's move to darker ones now. So Bill Gates, 126 and 150, which is in between desire and anger. So very low, but he's not the lowest. So I got lower ones. Jeff Bezos. Now, Jeff Bezos, again, very controversial character again, because I got his level in between 201 and 250, which is in between courage and neutrality. So that's not bad at all. However, I do believe that he is negatively oriented. I mean, 100%. It's just hard to understand how he can have a relatively high level of consciousness, just as Elon Musk, for example. So that is an enigma, but I will look into that as well. So maybe I will channel some information about that. Okay, let's move because the list is long. George Soros, 101 and 125. Now that is a low one, in between fear and desire. Not a surprise. Klaus Schwab, guess. Klaus Schwab is between 76 and 100. That is the lowest one so far. Is between grief and fear. So that is a very, very low vibrational energy. I'm not surprised that he is so sinister. He is actually lower than George Soros. And I didn't talk about the Queen because I have a whole video on my Patreon where I talk about her, Prince Charles and Prince Andrew as well. And Prince Andrew had a higher level than Prince Charles, for example. That is surprising as well. Okay, Barack Obama, 151 and 175, between anger and pride. So below 200. His wife, Michelle Obama, is 176 and 200. So in between pride and courage. So a little bit higher than him. I mean, it's not a little bit because those levels and the difference in between those levels is exponential and logarithmic. So it's much higher energy basically. Donald Trump. Again, take it or leave it, but what I got was in between 311 and 350. Willingness and acceptance. That is a very high vibration for a person that is in politics. And I was very surprised and I checked it many times and I got the same result. Joe Biden, 126 and 150. Desire and anger. So that's very low, but it's higher than Klaus Schwab. Okay, next. Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, is in between 76 and 100. Grief and fear. So far, that is the lowest vibration that I calibrated. It's the same as Klaus Schwab. Very, very low. And of course, he is a graduate of the World Economic Forum. So I think he has studied there like for 5 years. There are a few people, there's a list of people that are young leaders, young graduates of the World Economic Forum. And he's one of them. So same level as Klaus Schwab. Boris Johnson, 151 and 175. Anger and pride. Quite low, but not surprising. Vladimir Putin. I said it already in one of my Patreon videos, but I will say it again. He is in between 311 and 350. So same as Donald Trump, in between willingness and acceptance. So that is, again, a very high level for a politician. It's very surprising. David Icke. I got the same about David Icke. 311 and 350. Willingness and acceptance. And again, that is a very high level for someone that is out there and is teaching others and is giving information about the truth. So he's trustworthy. Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, who is another World Economic Forum graduate, by the way. So his level of consciousness is in between 151 and 175, between anger and pride. So somewhat higher than the other ones, but still quite low. Viktor Orban. Now, I didn't get information about him easily, so I needed to check his frequency level a few times, but then I got, in the end, 176 and 200, so between pride and courage. It is not a lost case because it's close to courage, actually. Martin Luther King Jr., so the late Martin Luther King, in between 501 and 540, so between love and joy. That is beautiful. That is a very nice vibration. Hillary Clinton. Now that's a very, very low vibration. That is in between, again, 76 and 100. Grief and fear. So that is the lowest one. That's a very, very sinister energy. I mean, I'm not surprised that people are claiming what they are claiming about her. And I'm not surprised that people are saying that she's very evil, because the difference between her and Donald Trump is enormous. It's absolutely enormous. Okay, the late Ronald Reagan, 401 and 500. That is very, very high. Level of reason and love, and it's beautiful. Mark Zuckerberg, that one is not very nice. He is in between 126 and 150, desire and anger. So quite low. Bill Clinton, 101 and 125, so somewhat higher than his wife. It's in between fear and desire, but still very, very low, the level of fear. So that's the level of George Soros, actually. Russell Brand. Now, I was curious about Russell Brand because he's so popular nowadays, and I got 351 and 400, which is the level of acceptance and reason. So that is a very, very nice level. So the guy is definitely an evolved soul. He's definitely an evolved being. Okay, let's talk about organizations a little bit, and I will be talking about the vaccines too. So the United Nations as an organization is in between 151 and 175, the level of anger and pride. I was trying to get information about NATO and the World Economic Forum as organizations, but something was, I don't know, like wasn't really clear there, so I just left it. The Great Reset as an ideology is in between 101 and 125, in between fear and desire. Very, very low. And that's why it's not going to succeed. That's again a very evil, very eighth sphere kind of energy, the energy of the eighth sphere. Okay, let's talk about the jabs. Let's talk about the liquid. So the ones that are starting with M, with J, and with AZ are having the same vibration. They are vibrating on the level of, in between the level of desire and anger. So 126 and 150. They are designed to lower your vibration. And if you take that in, that is going to definitely affect your emotional body and your vibration. And in fact, I know people that got it and their vibrational level went down after that. And the more doses you are getting, the lower your vibration will go. So these three are having the same vibration. Now, the one with P, starting with P, which is the most popular one, unfortunately, is a very, very low vibration again. That is in between 76 and 100. So that is much lower than the other ones, between grief and fear. So if you really want to take this liquid, but I think the majority of you don't want to do that, but if you really, really want to take one of them, do not take the one with P, okay? Take one of the other ones. because this one is extremely dangerous and sinister. So all of them are dangerous, but this one in particular. And there is a reason why it is the most popular one as well. So keep that in mind. Okay, movements. The BLM movement is in between 151 and 175, between anger and pride. And you could feel that, when it happened, you could feel that it didn't come from a high vibration. And I was asking about the Freedom Convoy as well, because I was curious. And I knew that it's a high vibration. I definitely knew that it's probably above 300. But actually what I got was super, super surprising for me, because it is in between 501 and 540, between love and joy. So it is a beautiful, beautiful energy, very pure, and it is the level of unconditional love that this movement was built on. And I was so surprised because I did not expect that. I was expecting like something around 300. So that is why it changed the whole game. It changed the timelines as well, and it helped us to get to a new timeline. That is why it has started a movement all around the world, because such a high vibration can move mountains and can shake up the whole world. So that is why everyone got so inspired to do the same thing. That was that vibration of the heart, that pure vibration of the heart. Okay, so I will be talking about humanity and where we are standing right now, but let's talk about social media a little bit, because I calibrated social media platforms as well as communities. So I did check Facebook as a community, and I got between 176 and 200, between pride and courage. So it is not courage, it is close, but it's not courage. I got the exact same for Instagram, so 176 and 200. Yeah, and it's kind of like the level of pride with all that showing up, with all those photos. So definitely the community is vibrating on that level of pride. I checked YouTube as well. So YouTube is somewhat higher. I mean, much higher if we think about it, because it is above the level of courage. So it's between 201 and 250, which is between courage and neutrality. So that's a higher frequency, and yeah, I can definitely feel that. And then I checked TikTok as well, out of curiosity, as a community. So I'm not talking about the platforms and those that made the platforms, but I'm talking about the community. And the community vibrates quite high for TikTok. So it's between 251 and 300, neutrality and willingness. And that is very high. It's a high vibration. It's above courage. So I was very surprised about that as well. I checked BitChute too, and I got quite a low vibration for BitChute. The level of anger and pride, so between 151 and 175. So what is good about BitChute is that there's no censorship there. So that's why I'm keeping the platform. But as a community, it is absolutely low. So from comments under the videos that are anti-Semitic to racism to bullying that is going on there, that is absolutely horrific. And sometimes the comments that I receive as well, they are a joke, an absolute joke. I'm not even getting into that conversation with those people, because what can you talk about? So that is the downside of it, that there's no censorship, that people are really using that platform to take out their anger there. So all sorts of low vibrational entities are just throwing, words and horrible vibration onto others. So it is really the platform of acting out and throwing your crap onto others. This is what these low vibrational entities are doing. It is good because you can find videos that are uncensored and unfiltered, but use your discernment when you are watching those videos, because there are some creators as well there that or very, very low vibe. But of course, you can sense that BS. So Rumble is a much higher frequency already, much more civilized as a community, but my videos are not very popular there. But if you can, use Rumble rather than BitChute, I would say. It's a better frequency. I didn't check it, but I can tell. Okay, let's move to humanity and where we are standing right now. So as I said in one of my videos, I think from November 2021 or December, I talked about that, where we are standing as a collective. And what I got back then was that humanity is around 120 at the moment. So in between fear and desire. Now I checked it again, and indeed in November and December, we were between 101 and 125. And then in January 2022, we moved up to 126 and 150, which is between desire and anger. And that is a much higher frequency. And that is a frequency which is giving you much more energy to start changing things. So that level of anger, which I always talk about. So after the 21st of December, we have received so much upgrade as a collective, like so much cosmic energy that raised the vibration of humanity. So as a collective, we did have the willpower to now do something. And then February 2022, right now, we are between 176 and 200. So between pride and courage. So humanity, after 1986, I was saying that it was above 200, and then we went back. During the pandemic, we were at the level of fear, and now we moved up so much. Like, that is such a higher energy, like, because it's exponential compared to the level of fear. And that, I think, inspired the truckers as well, and that changed the whole game. We are definitely on the right track. And as we move above 200 again, because people are waking up, and the majority of people are already awakened, especially after what happened in Canada, it will be very, very hard to go back down on those levels. So this is a foundation that is serving for building that willpower and energy to move so high. And even if we move down again, it will be just temporary. So it's really beautiful, because we can no longer be intimidated. Okay, so this is what I wanted to say about these energy levels. And let's check what is happening with humanity right now, where we are standing. So I will do a tarot reading. So I will pull a few cards, and I will do this reading in a different way. So it will have 4 parts. The first part will be about where we are right now as a collective, energetically, as humanity. Second part, what we are not seeing as a collective. Third part is where we are heading. And then the fourth is guidance from spirit, so advice from spirit that will help us with this transition. Okay, so let me shuffle the cards. So spirit, where we are right now as a collective. Couple of cards, please. Where we are right now as a collective. 6 of Wands came up upright. That's great. So where we are right now as a collective, where we are at the moment. 2 of Wands upright as well. Okay, what is that we are not seeing? 6 of Pentacles upright. The Word upright. So this is what we are not seeing. Okay, now where we are heading as a collective. Knight of Wands upright. 7 of Pentacles upright as well. So this is where we are heading. And guidance from spirit. So we have the 5 of Wands upright as advice from spirit. And we have the 5 of Swords that is upright as well. Did you notice that all of them were upright? That's so interesting. Okay, so first of all, where we are right now, we got the 6 of Wands and the 2 of Wands. So the 6 of Wands is about success, is about victory. So humanity is feeling this success. We are actually winning. So this is the energy in the air. This is what people are feeling. This is what communities are feeling as well. And actually there's no energy of losses or defeat or anything like that in the air. So people are celebrating. There is this celebration in the air and a lot of courage. A lot of courage that was inspired, as I said, by the people in Canada. And there were demonstrations before that as well, but this was giving like this push to other countries as well to stand up, because if Canada can do that, Canada, who is the land of peaceful people, the land of people that would never say anything bad to each other, would apologize, would be like, sorry, sorry. And if they can do that, then we can do that as well. So there is this energy of victory in the air, actually. And the Two of Wands is about waiting for results. So we have put out that passionate energy of wanting to make a change, of wanting to step into our sovereignty. And then now we are waiting for results. And we know that victory will be ours. So it's a very positive energy in the air. It's a very passionate one, because wands are fire energy. It is passion. And once I got this card in one of my readings, where this person is holding the world, the earth, in his palm, and it's waiting for something to happen. This is about choices as well. The choice that humans have already made. So we know where we are going and we know what we want. And it's a positive choice, the choice of a positive timeline. So this is where we are at right now. And what we are not seeing as a collective, as humanity, we got the World and we got the Six of Pentacles, both upright. So what we are not seeing is that the fact that humanity has stood up for itself, starting from Canada and then all around the world, and we stepped into our sovereignty, and this has opened the doors, and this has started a completion, because the word is about a completion, the completion of a goal and the completion of a lesson. So it might not be very clear yet for many of us, but we have completed a big lesson, humanity. We have completed a karmic lesson. There's still a lot to be cleared up, but the biggest part has been cleared up already. And we have gained clarity about loads of things and a higher perspective, because the eagle is there. So we have gained a different perspective because we had the courage to step into our power. And the Six of Pentacles is about giving and receiving, is about generosity. So we might not see that there's a lot that is going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of energy, there's a lot of exchange of energy that is happening, and a lot of help that is going on behind the scenes. So there are many things that we don't see, but these are actually beautiful things. So behind the scenes, there's a lot of giving and receiving and exchanging positive energy. So things are getting cleared. So they are being cleared up, but it's taking some time, and that's why we are waiting. But we are being definitely helped. There's a lot of help that we are not seeing, or we might not realize that is there, but it's there. And then where we are heading as a collective, we got the Knight of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles, both upright. So the Knight of Wands is this free-spirited energy, this passionate energy, creative energy that comes in, you know, with like a big entrance, like this charisma. And it might be not as fast-moving as the Knight of Wands. So it might not come in like as fast and furious, but it's coming with an impact. So we are stepping into this creative energy, this passionate energy, this free spirit, this energy of freedom. It's a beautiful card. I love the Knight of Wands. And then the Seven of Pentacles is talking about patience and hard work that is required. So this will not happen straight away, as I already said. It requires a lot of patience. There might be delayed success, because the Seven of Pentacles is about that as well. And sometimes it looks like there is no reward of that hard work, and there is no result, but it is coming. So the Seven of Pentacles is close to that breakthrough. However, it still needs to work quite a lot on that. So it will not happen like fast, but it will be so worth it. It will be so worth the effort. And as an advice from Spirit, we got the Five of Swords and Five of Wands. And fives are about conflict. So what Spirit is telling us is that there might be violence and challenges and obstacles with this process, with this transitional period, because we are just in the middle of, you know, the eye of the storm. So there might be challenges and there will be challenges, but we don't have to let those challenges to stand in our way toward our success. We have to focus on what is ahead, and not to be afraid and not to be intimidated by that abuse of power, by the violence, by the bullying, and everything that is going on against people that are speaking up against the official narrative. Because these weak individuals will do everything to keep us quiet. But if we know that this Knight of Wands is where we are heading, this energy of the sovereignty, the freedom, the free spirit and creativity, then there's nothing that they can do, because our vision is much more powerful than their force. They are using force to keep us quiet. So yes, Spirit is saying that there will be challenges, there will be obstacles, conflicts, there might be abuse as well and bullying, but we need to do what we need to do. We need to stay in our freedom and in our authenticity and to speak up. And those people that are saying that this is not the way, like this is not 5D, this is not how we should handle things. Look, we are dealing with some really low vibrational entities here. And if we were so evolved to just solve things by sitting at home and meditating, then we wouldn't have these kind of entities, because humanity would be so evolved that there would be no low vibrational entities present on the earth. So you understand that it's a paradox in and of itself to try to solve things without taking action. And those individuals that are saying these things are not even close to the fifth dimensional consciousness, because if they were, they would understand that certain steps cannot be skipped. It's a natural process. It has to run naturally. So it's a horrible spiritual bypassing to think that if you just don't comply, everything will be fine. Yes, if everyone did that, would be fine, but then we wouldn't be in the situation where we are. So what if you are walking on the street and you are not wearing your face mask, and the police comes and they arrest you or they attack you or whatever? Now, what you're gonna do in that situation with your 5D thinking? So in some situations, it's inevitable to fight back. First of all, if you were fifth dimensional, you wouldn't come across the police that is third dimensional. You understand? So we are trying to solve the problems of the present Earth and societal problems with an approach that we don't even understand. This is what we understand. This is what we need to do. And there's a force here that is doing what it's doing. And that creates naturally a counter force. It's natural. So yeah, this is the way, this is what is happening. And we will get there. We will get to higher vibrations where there will be no longer counter force. But for that, we need to break through now these barriers. So we will no longer have counter force after a while, but for now, this is what we are dealing with. This is what we have to deal with. I'm sorry, it's like saying that you will jump off a cliff and you will be fine because you are fifth dimensional. So, or I'm going to get the jab because I can override the effects. Yes, you can, if you can, but that doesn't mean that you have to do that, does it? So we need to stay grounded when it comes to these things. Okay, so I'm going to pull another card from this oracle deck and then I will finish this recording. So another card, please, Spirit, as an advice for us about this transition and how to handle this transition. So what is your advice to us? The Spiral Dancer. There you go. That's a beautiful feminine energy. There's a spiral there. Spirals are always about expansion. They are always about cycles, and it is always about spiraling up. But let's see what the guidebook is saying, because I'm very curious. Circuitous route, perception. Number 5. Again, number 5. That's the number of conflict. It's not an easy number, number 5. That was last year's number, 2021. So it was upright. The Spiral Dancer moves with her own rhythm and steps to music only she can hear. She takes you on a path that is winding and circular. She assures you that what you are experiencing as a setback is really part of an upward spiral. Perception is everything. You are not retracting your steps or going backward, but rather around and up. She says that you can be comforted knowing that your path is one of success, adventure, and experience. All steps are perfect, even when you may seem to be stumbling. The spiral dancer is a reminder that destiny's true path is seldom straight. I think that's a very straightforward guidance actually from Spirit. And it's telling us that even though it might seem that we are not moving forward, and it's so interesting because I was just thinking about this spiral thing the other day, that sometimes it feels like we are just going around and around and around the situation, and we are not getting out, and we are coming across the same thing over and over again, and we thought that we already healed, but then again the same thing happens. But actually it's not true, because we are going up like that. And the reason why we are coming across the same thing is to give us an opportunity to respond differently to the situation. And you know you're healing when you're coming across the same situation, but it doesn't have the same intensity as it had before. It doesn't trigger you the same way as it did. And you might be coming across very similar situations and people as well, but you don't have the same emotional response. It doesn't have that power over you as it did have before. So actually, we sometimes just need this measurement. We do need a point of reference to be able to measure our progress. So if we don't come across the same situation again, how do we know that we healed it? We need to come across the same situation so we can respond differently to that. So this is what is happening now with humanity. We are coming across like roadblocks and challenges, but we now learned to respond differently. We know how to handle it. And instead of asking, oh, when this is going to end finally, how many times we have to come across the same thing, instead of that, we need to know that it will end. We have to have the conviction that it will end, because we are making a progress. We are spiraling up. And it might not seem like we are doing that because it's happening over time. It's a steady progress, but steady progress is the best. Slow, steady progress is the best because it's building a foundation that can withstand the test of time. And this is what is happening with humanity. We are building that foundation now, that strong foundation. We need to have patience. So thank you guys for watching. This is what I wanted to say. If the message resonated, you can feel free to share it with others. You can feel free to subscribe to this channel as well. And thank you everybody who is supporting me on my Patreon and everyone who is supporting me on YouTube as well. I love you all. Take care everybody, and I cannot wait to see you next time.